what's the effect of sex on happiness?
Yeah.
Like how does that tie in? Because obviously we talked about the beginning stages of relationships. There's all that chemistry,
Yeah.
it's so exciting.
The passion.
Yeah. The passion is there, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So human sexuality is an area that a lot of people study, and there's this belief that the sexual act per se is an enormous part of happiness. What it is, it's a form of pleasure, and pleasure actually doesn't lead to happiness. What happens is with pleasure is that it can be converted into a part of making life enjoyable, satisfying, and meaningful. And so that's what when sex is correlated with happiness, it's when it's within the confines of a relationship in which it's enjoyable, and that means pleasure plus people plus memory. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the reasons that pornography is so dangerous and leads to so much depression and anxiety and unhappiness, is because there's no other people involved. It's solitary.
Yes.
And that shears off the sexual experience from the way it's supposed to be, which is bonding to another person.
I was listening to this video about this like experiment some scientists did with rats, and they had like rats that were just able to drink like regular water or water laced with what was it?
Methamphetamine or something.
Yes. It wasn't meth, but it was, what was it that you had in the hospital when?
Fentanyl.
It was laced with fentanyl.
An opiate. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so obviously the rat would go to the fentanyl every time, right. But then when they brought the rats into Rat Park where they could, have sex, have community, have friends, yay, they're in community.
Have fun.
Now the rats don't care about the fentanyl. They're drinking the water just as much as
they're drinking the regular water. And that's one of the reasons that 25% of active duty military in Vietnam were addicted to heroin, which is one of the reasons the United States was functioning poorly in Vietnam. There's abundant, cheap heroin there. And they're like, it's going to be a huge public health crisis when they all come home. Between 5 and 10%, depending on the estimates that you believe, were addicted after the first day at home. Why? Because they were reunited with their loved ones. And that's what their brains wanted. That's the reason that a lot of heroin addicts say that being high on opiates feels like pure love, because it's actually affecting the brain in much the same way.
Yeah.
And when you get real love, it's what you actually want. So when you're shearing the rewards off from the actual love, it's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. So that's number one, is you don't get, that's why pornography doesn't lead to enjoyment and therefore is unrelated to happiness. On the contrary, it leads to unhappiness. It's really bad and dangerous.
Yeah.
Really bad and dangerous thing. Satisfaction. So sex is related to satisfaction to the point that it's leading you to the goal of going deeper with a person. So it should be something, that's why you should be having sex with somebody you're in love with.
Yeah.
Right? That's the important thing. That's why casual sex is not a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a bad. Now, when I say not a good, I'm not making a moral point. I'm making a point about happiness.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm coming down to. So it's like people can figure out their own morals, but I'll talk about the science of happiness. And most importantly, within a marriage, it leads to meaning.
Yeah.
This is a memorialization of the part of the meaning of my life, the depth of my life, as I've made a commitment to have a union, one flesh, with one particular person. That's how that comes about. So it's fun. It's pleasurable, but that goes through the enjoyment channel. It actually leads to the goal of my life, which is to be with somebody and make a life with somebody. And that's satisfaction. And it helps me understand who I am as a person, which is fused to this other person, which leads to more meaning. And that's how we need to understand sex.